Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler. I am the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've been involved in 17 startups and 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.3 billion, and Eva.ai, an HR tech company. And with that, I have an incredible guest today. Thomas Rappold is the CEO at Dividend, a German company. He's an author of Silicon Valley Investing. He's located in Munich. A detailed look behind the Silicon Valley ecosystem from an experienced angel investor. The book covers 30 of the most prominent startups. They're all promising startups on their way to, yes, an IPO, initial public offering. He's a German business media executive, as well as a writing contributor for magazines like Bourse Online, Focus Money, Capital, and Der Akenteur. Oh, I can't speak German that well. And an analyst speaker for the Berlin-based broadcasting station N24. He's an entrepreneur, advisor, investor with deep hands-on experience in digital business and software development. He is the API guy. So let's talk about that. Thomas. Hi, Thomas. How are you today?
Hi, Gary. Good to see you and good to hear you. Yeah, fine. Great.
That's good to see. Hey, what's that orange thing behind you on your shoulder there? It looks like a drawing or something.
Yeah, that's a drawing from my son, and there's also he draw a unicorn, so it's just nearby me. So he made a unicorn for me.
Where's the unicorn?
So I can show it just a second.
Yeah.
So this is
wow! How old is he?
So my son is 6, and he made this and said, "Okay, look, Dad, this is the outlook."
Well, he did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, you must be pretty proud of him. What's his name, Thomas?
His name is Neo. Neo is a very interesting German name, as our most famous painter in Germany, living in Leipzig. So he's called Neo Rauch, and we know him. So we really like painters, and he's really the greatest one in Germany. And we thought, okay, Neo would be a good name. It's internationally. You can spell it quite simple, and it's quite short. So with 3 characters, and he's doing a great job in drawing. So it's already a good.
Yeah, I mean, for 6 years old, I was drawing stick figures. He's really good.
Yeah.
Wow, exactly. You must be proud of him. Hey, so let's talk about. So, were you born in Munich originally, or where are you from originally?
Yeah, I'm born near Stuttgart. So where the car industry is. I come from the oldest city in Baden-Württemberg, so that's not far away from Stuttgart. So I grew up there, and so Munich was always my favorite town, because it has a lot of similarities with San Francisco. So it's just 2 times larger than San Francisco, but from the work-life balance, I see there a lot of similarities, and Munich is also a center of tech, of venture capital. And also of lifestyle, so it fits. It's the German Silicon Valley, I would say.
Yeah, no, I remember I was doing some work with Nixdorf, and they had an office in Paderborn in Munich. I never forget. I went to this Bavarian restaurant, this Hofbrau, and I got this incredible food. It was pasta with like a block of cheese in it. I never had anything like this in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but it was really tasty, and I'm sure it had a lot of calories.
It's called Oberste on Bayerish, so Bavarian. So it's it
had like a bowl. It had a big bowl. It came out. It was like, it looked like somebody, we were a king or something. It was a huge amount. But I was eating it, and under the table was a Doberman Pinscher. Somebody had brought their dog. We didn't have dogs in the States at the time in restaurants. And I was moving my feet around because I had a couple too many beers, and I was eating this cheese, and I heard, I must be hearing things.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
beer
yeah.
is getting to me.
But he was intelligent because, or the dog was intelligent because she or he knew, okay, they're below a table. It will be their gift for them because yeah, it's a good place to be there because
It was just resting under the table. And what happened is when I was moving my feet around, I must have been kicking it. And it didn't like it. And I'm like, I looked under the table and I'm a kind of I got bitten by a dog one time. So I don't kind of like big dogs. And I looked under the table and I said,
yeah,
this can't be real. And
yeah.
anyhow, I had this incredible food and then I drove on the Autobahn and I remember driving on the Autobahn and I decided to have a cheap Mercedes A-Class, one of those
Mhm.
thin things. That was the worst thing that I've ever decided in my life. It was like not a fun experience, but
Okay.
yeah, incredible. So tell me a little bit about, you looked at startups and the most promising startups in your book. What are the characteristics of those startups? And if you look at the 30 most promising, what are on the way to an IPO? Is that in Germany? Is that worldwide? Or tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the idea was there with the book. So when I went first to Silicon Valley, the idea was not just to do tourism like a lot of Europeans do that, but really go deep, walk around, really, and write down that as a book there, and well connected with Y Combinator, with other businesses. So I knew, for example, Plate. Zach Parrott, the CEO, very early on when they had just 10 employees, and right now they are $15 billion company and plugging in the financial system in the United States. I knew GitHub, GitLab very early on. And the idea was really to write down then a book, and then I had a great situation that Andy Bechtolsheim is a hero in Stanford, co-founded Sun Microsystems. He's also a German guy, also in Bavarian born. And the doctor of my mother went with him to school. And when I went with my mother to him, and he asked me, "Hey, Thomas, what are you doing?" I said, I write a book about Silicon Valley. And he said immediately, "Hey, then you should talk to my school friend." I said, "Is it Andy?" And he said, "Yes, it's Andy." And then I was very fast connected with Andy. Andy is really down to earth. Also, as a billionaire, he was the first investor in Google. This is why Google is named Google, because he wrote the first check for Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the first 100,000, and the company was not incorporated. So they went back to their garage, and they had to name the company Google to get the money from Andy. Yeah, and Andy. Yeah, help me a little bit with the book, not necessarily a lot, but he wrote also the preface and looked at the book.
Well, that must have been really interesting, Thomas, to deal with somebody that's got multiple billions of dollars and
Yeah,
one of the legends of Silicon Valley.
and very grounded. So I remember the first email my time at 15:15. So that's 6:15 in Silicon Valley. So very early in the morning, very down to earth. And he wrote me, "Hey Thomas, I heard about that you're writing a book about this topic. I think that's really good and incredible that you do that. You get every assistance and support from my side you needed." So that's, you would never get such a feedback from a CEO of a big multinational company, or you would get it from a secretary of. But really, that's Andy. He is driving an old Porsche with as an electrical engineer with less electric inside. So really,
He's got an
really.
electric Porsche.
No. He an old Porsche. He drives an old Porsche without any electric
I got it. Got it.
facilities around
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he likes it really native. Also he is an electrical engineer. He likes it very pretty simple there. And he's always coming back to Germany 2-3 times to his parents there, and he's windsurfing there in Germany, and a really grounded guy. And he's a real hero. He's also the co-founder of Arista. There, it's a S&P 500 company, a very large company. He's still the chief technical officer there, and yeah.
Interesting. So tell me a little bit about it. So you got 30 of the most promising startups.
Mhm.
So which startups and Tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about it.
I think in startups, or if you invest in startups, in whether mid stage or also later stage, you should look at, does this company has a real moat? Has it a community? Has it a brand name? So has it a unique technology, and has it a developer community that's really pretty unique? So really that they love it, and like you had it with GitLab or with GitHub, or with MongoDB, that this is a really large community that they like it, and stick with the company and stick with the product and enhance the product. That's it. And I think openness is overall, when I look back about my career and about the stock market, openness is a very important point investors often underestimate. If you look back at Apple and Microsoft over the last 35 or 40 years when they went public, openness was always the crucial point, whether one of them took over the other. So first of all, there was Apple at the stock market. Then 5 years later came Microsoft in 1985. But Apple missed the point there in the first stint of Steve Jobs, because I remember early the 90s. So when I was studying computer science, everyone would like to develop something with Apple, but it was not possible because it was a closed box. So you couldn't access that. So the community was limited, and the valuation was also limited then. And Microsoft had the opposite strategy, that Bill Gates said, okay, it's open. We deliver everything on the platform. You can get the graphical user interface. You can develop software. So Microsoft built a huge ecosystem. So
Yeah.
and then the interesting point, then it came a turning point, that that Steve Ballmer took over the company, and Steve Ballmer made the opposite and said everything that's not from Microsoft is shitty. So whether it's open source, whether it's from Apple or so, and then Microsoft went down and Apple went up, not because of the iPhone, but because of iTunes and because of the App Store. That was the crucial point. Now with the App Store, everyone now who was motivated could develop products for Apple. And that was the real thing, not the iPhone. It was the App Store and the developer community. And this is where I look for. So for companies that have a strong developer community, a strong brand, and can leverage that via their community, that stick with the product and push it forward. So that's what I see.
You're right. I actually talked to
DocuSign is an example. DocuSign is a great example. I was very early on. I remember 10 years ago, everyone in the United States said, when they send you a document, not sign the document digitally, but say, hey, DocuSign that. So that's something like, I mentioned that, like you Google around, like you don't say I search something in the internet, you say you Google. And that's the same
exactly.
with
No matter what you
DocuSign.
use, you say you Googled it, right?
And I also look at companies that are really different. As you know, I also wrote the first biography about Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel always says competition is for losers. And if you think about his company Palantir, I'm also a big fan of this company, because it's very unique. Also right now with the war in the Ukraine, that for example, Alex Karp says, the CEO, we are built with a company Palantir for the bad times, and they are always bad times. And it is, we're living in bad times, and this is a good time for such a company there, and they are very unique in what they are doing. And a German journalist asked me, how would you explain that, what Palantir is doing, and their habits, and how they resonating in the market? I said the same like Bayern Munich in soccer in Germany. They are also different. They say we are number one, and they have this intrinsic motivation out of that, because they know we are the best, and they deliver it. Also, they are the best ones. So, and that's the same like Palantir. They have also this confidence, this understanding that they say, hey, we are different than others, and you can love it or you can leave it. So it's black or white. So you have to decide also on which table you are, and these are things I like. And as an investor, you only can outperform others if you're, like Thiel says, you're contrarian. Contrarian doesn't mean you'll be on the opposite. Contrarian means you look at things from a different perspective than the others. That's it. And that's you can look. I read over 20 years books about Warren Buffett and very deeply, and I thought, okay, everyone is telling Warren Buffett is not a tech investor. He showed the community that he's a good tech investor, as he made 120 billion with Apple. So I think
Yeah. No, he's amazing, actually.
that's a point. So and you can transfer if there's look. Buffett always asks or get asked, what is a mode? Then he answers, what does it take to build Coca-Cola from the scratch new? It's quite difficult, because if you would go on a restaurant and have the same imagination, you would get such a lemonade with this dark colors and sparkling, then it's Coca-Cola. So it's there. So it's very difficult. But there are existing others like Pepsi and so on. In Germany also Fritz Cola and what else. So different things. But in internet business, you often have just one search engine. You have one social network. You have one e-commerce shop. You have one payment system and so on. So we have way larger monopolies overall. And that's the interesting point. Do you find from the scratch new companies that really have this positive viral thing that's coming up there, whether with on the tech side or on the consumer business side? So that's what's fascinating for me. But these are just a few startups, just a few stocks that fit in this segment there.
Well, it sounds like you picked some real good winners. Actually, I was with the former COO of Palantir a couple of days ago. He's my neighbor down here, and Gavin. And so we had a chance to talk about what they did with Palantir, and it's incredible. But you're right about it, But here's the thing: is that Facebook, there was Friendster and MySpace, and then Facebook came in, and now if you talk about, well, these social platforms, you think of Facebook, right? If you think of business connections, you think of LinkedIn. So it's interesting how those things happen. Thomas, what's going on? What do you think? The current turmoil on the planet Earth, there's a lot of turmoil right now, and a lot of places are are closing up, right, and not allowing those Facebooks and Instagrams and LinkedIns. What do you think? Because they got vibrant ecosystems. What do you think is going to happen with those countries?
Very interesting, Gary. Very interesting question. I would say we are moving into let me say into separate systems. The former Google CEO Eric Schmidt said we will see a Western internet and an Eastern internet. That was 2 years ago when he said it. Right now, I would say we see maybe 4 blocks. The one block is the United States, another block is Europe, another block is Russia, and another block is China, and maybe some other autocratic states. And the issue right now is that everyone is looking at itself on the technological side, on the raw material side. Just an example from the United States, I read lately in the South China Morning Post, which belongs to Jack Ma from Alibaba, and they mentioned that the United States, Joe Biden mentioned to be self producer of solar energy, and then someone said, "Hey, just a moment, but 80% of the panels, solar panels, are coming from China. So how to solve that?" And that means the question is, can it be solved that a country, maybe the United States, has the resources to do then the whole production by itself? But the question is, does that make really sense?
Yeah, I mean that doesn't work.
That's a system like let me say like North Korea does. So they do all by itself, then but with a hard outcome overall. So, but what we see, and as you're also an investor in quantum computing, I'm also invested in one of the leading quantum computing startups in Germany called Aquarius, a spin-off from the University Munich. What I see in such fields like AI, quantum computing, is that you see maybe double inventions or double developments. Beforehand, you would more cooperate on an international scope, but right now you see this in Europe. You see a lot of investments pushing it forward. You see it in the United States. You see it in different. You see it in Russia and China and so on. Means that the sweet spot is getting different. Also, I had it lately on television in Germany. On the military side, that I said, okay, the case with Ukraine and Russia changed that totally. We see more spending also in cybersecurity, because
Yeah,
cybersecurity
I mean, it's changed everything, right? I mean,
yeah,
just the GDP, Germany's going to put 2% into the military, which hadn't
yeah,
happened since World
yeah.
War II, right?
Yeah, but it's 50% reliant on Russian energy, and that's something that people have to understand. If you have no energy, no electricity, everything else doesn't make sense. So Putin is sitting on the ground, and it was underestimated, totally underestimated, because everyone said, okay, electricity, that's quite normal. We get it just out of the box. We get it. It's convenient. It's always there. No, it's not always there. It's the hardest point. Without electricity, you don't have any life there.
Yeah.
And that's totally underestimated. Was totally underestimated by in the Western world,
So
especially in Germany.
what's going to happen then, Thomas?
So I think we have to look at double or third structures. So that means we not only can rely on like you build a bridge. If you're an engineer and build a bridge, you don't look at safeties just for 100%. You have to look at safeties for 200, 250%. Or if you think about the space industry, so the rocket industry, and so you always have to look for a second, not only for a second system, for a third or for a fourth system. So if 3 systems went out of business, then you have still a fourth you can rely on, and that's a thing we have to take care on the energy side. What I also see now, if you look back at, I think I have it just here around a great book. It's called the Berkshire University. It was written about the last 25 years of the annual meetings of Berkshire Hathaway, and you get it really condensed. Charlie Munger is right now 98, so he's the right brain from Warren Buffett. And
Mhm.
if you read that through the book, since 15 years or 20 years, Charlie Munger always mentioned America needs an intelligent electrical grid system. So what I would see, where I would like to invest really big, would be an operating system, an iOS or a Microsoft OS for the electric grid. That would be really a cool thing. So where you can manage really the electricity, because the problem right now, if you look at alternative energies, then you need a backup technology, because at the moment here in Germany you have no sun, so all the solar panels doesn't deliver energy. So you need still coal, you need still atomic energy or something like that. And you're still with more at the moment, because of less intelligent infrastructure like an operating system and like storage systems. We get way more reliant and dependent on energy from Russia, from gas industry, as we move forward in alternative energy. So it's not just saying, hey, go for alternative energy. It's the same stupid wording you would say, hey, just go blind into the stock market. That's the wrong way. No, you have to think about, first of all, you have to think about, and that would be a smart grid system, smart grid operating system. That would be pretty great.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, as we move through and we start looking at the planet, I mean, we got a lot of challenges in the planet. Population going from 8 billion to 13 billion. We got to double the food supply. More, we're going to run out of fossil fuels. So we need to look at these electric cars and other ways to be able to keep our life moving forward, because you're right. Once we don't have any more fossil fuels, it won't matter about Russia or Ukraine or anybody. I mean, U.S., Germany, a matter of how do we get that electricity and what kind of ways can we do it together and try to work together. And the kind of situations that are happening today in the Ukraine are just tragic. I mean, just awful. And
but war times are always times for fast inventions. If you look back at World War II in Germany, they invented the space industry within a few years. It was then transferred to Russia, and it was the base also for the Apollo program in the United States. So without the the developments during Hitler with the rocket industry in Germany, Apollo program, or the landing on the moon wouldn't be possible in that time. But what we need really, I think, is something like a Apollo, a moon program over the next few years. The problem is, from what I see, is that the politicians make announcements and say, hey, yeah, we can go climate positive within 7 years. Yeah, you can write that down on paper. You can do it on slideware, but you have to build really software. You have to deliver it. You have to ship it, and take also the population with you and the programs. This is something that Kennedy made in the 1960s. That he aligned the whole industry for that, and something like that would be necessary. And as Thiel said, it bring it really forward to have 140 characters written down, like with Twitter, where there's always social media stuff and shitty things. Does that make sense for us or bring us forward? No, it's not a real life increasing or makes our life better. The real hard technologies, they make our life better. And there we miss it out at the moment, that we deliver there way too slow, I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. Closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you? And do you have a copy of your book there you can show the audience?
Yeah, sure. I have it always nearby me. So both books. So the one is the Silicon Valley investing book there.
Okay, super. So check that book out. It's very interesting.
And the other is the Peter Thiel book. So it's all also available in Chinese, in Korean. The shitty thing is that as a German, you can't publish in English because English books are translated into German, but not the other way, because you don't find a publisher. So maybe there's someone in the channel who hears me, so he can come up to me. In 1920, German was the most important language for scientific readers and writers, but that changed then. Early last century then, and right now it's just going in one direction. That's in French you would say ça c'est très dommage. So that's really painful. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So thanks for your time. And closing thoughts. How do people get a hold of you? Thomas? What's the best way? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn is great, so that you connect me via LinkedIn, and you can also have a look at Divisend.com. So we had no time to discuss that deeper. Divisend is the leading dividend portal. So dividends are very good thing to increase your wealth. Just coming back to Warren Buffett, his biography is mentioned. Life is a snowball. So dividends are very, very crucial. And gives you the money, the freedom, the second income. And we built the first digital reclaim platform on foreign withholding taxes. So we're also a great case for our international community, because if they own foreign dividend stocks, they have this headache. And Divisend will tackle all around dividends. So for your second income, that you increase that, and you have the personal freedom to do things like watching us and reading good books and things like that. So that's the idea behind that. And yeah, please feel free, reach me out via LinkedIn. That's definitely the best way.
All right, Thomas, thanks so much. And to my audience out there, thanks for joining me one more time for GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And I'm your host, Gary Fowler. Stay tuned again for another exciting edition coming to you soon. Stay happy, stay safe, and most importantly, stay healthy. Talk to you soon, and God bless everybody. Thank you.
Take care.